Got it. Got it. Well, now do you see me? Should be working. I don't know if there's a lag or not a lag. I see a picture and I see 19 seconds. I see 20 seconds. Is there It's working. It's working. Hooray. I'm drinking water. Okay. So, great. Everybody sees me. So, I'm going to put this one up. Like the YouTube Studio thing has a little bit of a lag, but the thing I'm looking at, which is on Streamlabs, does not have a lag, so I'm just going to look at that. So, yes, Esprit T, Honda Hippo, he might still have these. They're beautiful. These shirts are the best. I mean, this thing is classic. So here we are in the toy room. If you've ever been to my house, I have a second bedroom that is filled with toys and collectibles and stuff I collect and stuff I sell. Um, and I actually, last year at the end of the year, I decided to put in a couch in here. I'd actually gotten rid of enough stuff that I actually had room to put a couch in here so I could sit on a couch, which is this really nice mid-century blue couch, which, look at that nice couch, boom, couch, and then start to do some stuff here. And including something like this, which is a live stream, and like the other video, which I think all of you watched, which was not a live stream. And so I just want to sort of chronicle like a bunch of the collectibles I have, because I've been posting stuff on Flickr and on my website and on Instagram now. And I've, you know, I can only ever sort of scratch the surface. I'm not an archivist like the Jason Leibigs of the world who scan everything they own and then put those scans together. I'm incredibly lazy when it comes to that stuff, but I like to post a lot of stuff. So the first video I did was just this one random collection box, which I've got 8 or 10 or 12 of those. It's all just packed with miscellaneous stuff. And then what we're doing today is a stack of labels and other things, which is pretty funny because the first thing's not at all a label; it's a little store sign. But the rest of them are labels. So I could get a big scanner and go through all these, blah blah blah, which would take a lot of time. Or I could just do them here, and we could look at them. If anybody desperately needed a scan of something in particular, they'd say to me, Dan, I desperately need a scan of that thing, and I would give it to them, probably. So the live chat is working. This seems to be working. If you need anything in live chat, I can look right over there and see it. I'm happy to answer questions. If there is anything you desperately want to see that I have in the collection room here, I could also probably dig that out live on cue because I know where a lot of stuff is. So we'll just get started on this. First off, this little fudgesicle sign. Yeah, boom, fudgesicle sign. This is the kind of stuff I love. I don't collect a lot of fudgesicle signs, or popsicle signs, or ice cream signs, because there's nearly a limitless amount of these. But this one is just beautiful. You get to see the wrapper. You get an artistic rendition of the bar, and you get this cool little cowboy kid. Hey, kids here, lassoing that fudgesicle. These little signs probably would have gone into probably not grocery stores, probably more like they'd go maybe on the side of whatchamacallit trucks, ice cream trucks, and probably in things like Foster Freezes, I guess. I don't know. Maybe in a 7-Eleven. I don't know. These kind of signs, they're always this particular thin, wide sign. I'm not quite sure why. Then we'll look at a couple of, these are fun, Franco-American UFOs. This is probably 70s, I would guess. Probably, probably post-Star Wars. These ones are really cool because, you got all these little different shapes, little green alien guy, little moon, a little star. And then, of course, to go with that, boom, with meteors. So they just throw in meatballs. Star Wars changed a lot of things because it added a lot of it added a lot of just general space themes to food, and actually Star Wars sort of just allowed a lot of new stuff in the grocery store when a lot of brands were getting more just sort of centralized on trying to sell to housewives as opposed to selling to kids. You know, when I was a kid, I always went to the store with my mom, and I picked out all sorts of stuff. So that changed, I think, in the 70s and into now. I'm not sure kids are that fully invested. I think they're fully invested into video games. Uh, this is just a can label, and I mean, look at that design. That is some serious 60s design where we've got just these great muted colors, all kinds of neat stuff going on there. Super fun. Here's something I know you're all going to get excited about: the Campbell's soup can label with the doll offer. I used to collect pretty much any kind of food packaging that had any kind of offer. You know, be it down to not so much generic stuff, but anything that sort of had to do with the brand, like these dolls. And as I get older in life, I realize, does anyone really need to document this? You know, and like I said, you know, stuff like this, I never probably put it on my website. I probably never put it on Instagram or anything like that. So this is probably your one chance to see something like this. And you know, 1,000 years in the future, when they're watching these videos, they're going to be like, "Oh my God, look at this great stuff." Now we're going to get into some stuff that's, shall we say, near and dear to my heart, which is Funny Face. Funny Face was the main thing that got me to become a collector. Because when I was a kid, I drank a lot of Funny Face, probably mainly because I loved the characters and I loved all the premiums. And Funny Face did a ton of premiums. And they started out as just packs. How much do some of these labels go for? How much do some of these labels go for? Something like this Campbell's, probably $20, $25. Um, Something like these Funny Face canister labels, I just sold a couple of these on eBay, bigger ones, for like $33 each. So, you know, I mean, considering the initial product was probably $1, it's an upgrade. You know, and and we've got a lot of collectors here. We also know some collectibles from these time periods can be incredibly expensive. Um, there are certainly funny, you know, like Funny Face mugs, which you can see here. We have the mug offer. Those sell for $5 to $10 each, but some of the rarer mugs, they made some two-handled ones, can sell for $200, $300, $400 each. So, as with all collectibles, there's less expensive stuff and there's incredibly expensive stuff. So, Choo Choo Cherry, nice cup offer, nice all 8 mugs, which was the final sort of iteration of the mugs. When they started, they had 4, then they added 2 more, and then in this final iteration, they added 2 more, including With It Watermelon, who is like literally the coolest cat that ever existed. With It Watermelon, sort of an Elvis impersonator watermelon. And on this one, we have here we have Jolly Ollie Orange, which has, as you see, like a different mug offer. It's the exact same mugs, but they've changed up the art. And I think in one of these, yeah, because this one's the free mug. So inside the canister would have been a coupon where you could have sent away for the free mug. And boom, you just open the canister, boom, send it in, they send you a mug. And of course, to go with the mugs, they made the pitcher, the Goofy Grape pitcher. Once again, Goofy Grape pitcher, they made 2 different versions, and those sell for $50 or thereabouts. This Loudmouth Punch, if you know, Loudmouth Punch is kind of fun because he started out as Loudmouth Lime, and then of course they were running, they had lime and they had lemon, so they decided to give the lime a boot and changed him into Punch. And so, you know, it's like, what is a punch shaped like? Well, he ended up being shaped like a lime for a lot of years because he came from him. And this is like one of the saddest things this is a sad thing I did way back when I got these. They were torn because they tore them off. You can see the tear. And so I glued them back together with these pieces of paper and like terrible glue, so they're in terrible shape. And that's always an interesting thing about collectibles is some of these things you're gonna own longer than it was between it being in the shelves. So this canister label probably is from 1975, and so I probably bought it probably in 1990. So it'd been out off the shelf for 15 years. Well, now it's 2019, so that's what, another 29 years. Wait, no, is that right? Ooh, that is right. That's 29 years. So this had only been off shelves for 15 years, and then I've had it in my collection for 29 more years, which is just crazy. And as you can see, you never know what kind of condition you're going to get stuff in. These are folded, they're worn, but they're still really nice. This one's really cool because it's the popsicle mold, which came inside there, little tiny plastic popsicle mold. So you'd make your funny face, and you'd also make yourself some little popsicles in the freezer. Jolly Ollie Orange with the popsicle mold. Here's Lefty Lemon with a wear a grape sweatshirt. And the other sort of fun thing about Funny Face is when they sort of discontinued it, it disappeared from the stores, but I still had a pile of the packs. And so at the very end of the run, I had all these packs, and I was like, as a kid. So I sent them all in and got all these iron-ons, which you could put on shirts. But being like an obsessive collector kid, I just kept them all. And I kept them all sort of into my adulthood. I'm doing too much talking, I'm going to destroy my throat. Here's Goofy Grape with the popsicle mold. Goofy Grape being sort of the main character of the Funny Face. Oh, here we go. Let's see the pals. Root and Tune Raspberry, and these are the pals. So one of the most other common of the Funny Face premiums were the pillows, which still show up all the time. But they also made these little plush pals that were furry. They were a lot harder to find. Oh, Jolly Ollie Orange with the mugs. And as you can see, I am a crazy completist, or at least I used to be. Glue on there. Yuck. I'm a crazy completist. And so back when I was collecting super hardcore, I didn't just want to have one Jolly Ollie Orange, one with the mugs. I wanted to have the mugs offer on every single one. I wanted to have Jolly Ollie Orange in any iteration. If, as you can see with some of these, they say with vitamin C right there. Some of them have different little starbursts that look a little different, because each year, every year or two, they would change the design. And so, like an obsessive collector, I was always on the lookout for all those different designs. There's a nice Choo Choo Cherry. I think Choo Choo Cherry is probably my favorite character as a kid. He's just great. And they just keep coming. Strawberry with the iron-on offers. Those were the iron-ons I sent away for. And of course with Funny Face, there's multiple kinds of iron-ons. They made bigger iron-ons, for a full shirt. And then they also made some little ones. And of course the little ones, they made little round ones. And they also made little square ones. And that was the thing with all these companies, is they would constantly change things. And so, and sometimes they would just, they'd remake the same things over and over again. Like the mugs, and that's the funny thing is Pillsbury went out of, didn't go out of business, but stopped selling Funny Face. And so at a certain point, they sold it to another company, Brady Enterprises, who still owns it. And they shipped all the old mugs to them. So Brady, for years and years, and maybe still, has a warehouse full of those mugs. Boom. Great. See, it's a lot of, we're getting to a lot of repetition, aren't we? And for that, I apologize. But we can just look at them all. And boom, this is the last one. And those are pretty fun. Oh, we only have 1,000 more things to go through. Isn't that exciting? I can tell you're excited. Next up, we're going to go through some of my High C labels. High C, which I think they still make. Good job, Dan. You know what's going on. High C used to come in these cans that were this tall, and they had nice printed paper labels, and we would buy high C. I think it was a convenience thing. I can't imagine it was that expensive. We could probably dig through these and try and find one that actually has a price on it. But it always seemed like it was one of those products that you had a percentage of the time. You didn't have it all the time, but every once in a while you'd be like, oh, let's get some high C, and it just was your classic flavored sugar water. This is an older one with Casper, and it has an NFL offer on the back. You can see, boom, it has a thing. Who is this? Dennis Partee, the place kicker of the San Diego Chargers. Every kid's dream is to get the Dan Partee. This is the one they were fighting for. This is why I like it, is because of the beautiful Casper on there. He's wearing the football helmet. He's on the back. This is like the whole label. And this one was folded in half and stored, probably by some collector at some point. And the great thing is, because they have these football players, Emmett Thomas, who I think who was a cornerback, Kansas City Chiefs. I think Emmett was actually a real serious player. Oh, wow. It looks like they only made 10 of these, which is crazy. From 1969. Collect all 10. Sonny Jurgensen, Gail Sayers, David Lee, Mel Renfro, Fred Cox, Greg Cook, Jim Turner, Dick Post, Emmett Thomas, and Dennis Partee. They really, thank you. Needle Cool Stuff says, yay, he's enjoying himself. You'd think they'd have invested in some players that somebody would care about. Here's another one, and Greg Cook, and here look, we have the kid who's written Greg's name on here twice. Thank you, kid. The funny thing is there's also, you can find the high C labels with just a Casper, not the whole NFL thing. That label's 20 times harder, 100 times harder to find than these, because people saved these. The one where it's just Casper on there, nobody saved, because it was just Casper on there. And that's the thing about a lot of this stuff, is that if it has a reason for survival, it stands a better chance of some survival. So a lot of times when things did have offers, those might survive because the kid saved them. So like this one, mini SSP offers. If you remember SSPs, there's a whole line of toys where had a little flywheel in there with a little counterweight, and you'd zip it up, which would give it a bunch of power. So you'd be inserting your power into this wheel, kind of not like a gyroscope, it's similar to a gyroscope, and then it would race, it would race like hell. And so you could get this little mini one, which was I think it was a little purple guy. Looks like it's black on here, but I believe it's purple. And so, a kid would have saved this because he might be thinking, oh, I have to get 3 labels, then I'll send it in. He only ever has 1 label. That label gets shuffled away, and it survives. And here's another one. This one has a free, with purchase on this can, Partridge Family picture. And on the back, boom, we get a nice picture. We get a David Cassidy beach towel, not a poster. So beach towel, very cool. So once again, this one, boys and girls would have saved this, try to put together the whole collection of these. 8 great photos. There's 8 different. I've only ever found one of them. 1972. And then, of course, the offer expires in 1973, March 31st. That's Partridge Family. For all you big TV people. This one, and this goes to my obsession. Oh my God, this one has a Frisbee offer. So exciting. Oh, and this one everyone's gonna love. Look at this offer for a tablecloth and an apron and a cup. 6 tall tumblers, 1962. But I mean, I just love this sort of classic high C logo. The beautiful painting, and that's one of the things I always loved trying to find was the original art to some of this stuff, which is all incredibly hard to find because it was companies would produce it, and then most of the time it would just end up in the dumpster. This is one of my favorites, the citrus cooler. just say it with me, citrus cooler. How gorgeous is that? He's just sitting out there in that pile of snow, all those snowflakes. It's like, it's not black, but it's a really, really, really deep green. And of course, the mascot for High C is High Cecil, who's a giraffe. I'm just going to leave that hanging. This one is an incredibly sad condition, but sometimes that's what you have to do. You have to take what you can get. Mess with this one too much. Look at this poor. There seems to be a part missing, but I mean, this is a really nice wild berry, and I seem to remember that flavor from when I was a kid. Yeah, wild berry. It seems like orange was by far the most popular flavor of High C because that is the one I always find. Oh, okay, you're all gonna love this one. Who is this? Clowning around T-shirt with Emmett Kelly Jr. Back when we had celebrity clowns. You know, they would go on from the Ringling Brothers to appear. Oh, look at this. Look at the back. This is what everyone needs. Instructions for making your clown mask. Boom! That's a lot of kids went out on Halloween that year. Emmett Kelly Jr. You want his? Look at that T-shirt. That is what we're looking for. Those T-shirts. I've never seen those T-shirts. Another citrus cooler. Oh, here we go. Here's a nicer wild berry, and some stuff like this you can see. Man, I am blathering on. I just collected it. I probably never tried to sell most of these sort of generic High C labels because they're probably only worth $5 or $10 each. And so, so I kept putting them all in the same place, which is in a box. I mean, when it comes to the orange, oh my God, it's terrible. It's like, do you really need that many? Well, probably not. And here we go. This is an earlier version High C. Probably maybe late 50s. Maybe this is the first one. I don't know. If I was a perfect person of trying to study this stuff, which I'm not perfect at it, I mostly just collect because I love the stuff, because I want to see stuff, and then I don't know, I get obsessive. But I'm sure you could track down magazine and newspaper ads and really try to clock the history. But they had High Cecil out there, so he's been around since the beginning. This is a pretty one. Pineapple grapefruit. In each one they'd come up with this new sort of color scheme. The yellow, the blue, and the apple drink. That's so great. Cherry. I think we used to buy a lot of cherry. That makes a lot of sense because a lot of other things didn't have a cherry flavor, and High C had this cherry flavor, which was. And then we go to the grape, which has never been my favorite. I've never been a grape person. Then at a certain point, they run contests because every product at all times tries contests at some point. Throw $25,000 out there. Another orange pineapple. And here's a beauty. This one you're all going to love. And, Florida Punch. Just these colors. I mean, just these colors. Never get tired of this. And then High C. This is where we went in the 70s. Wah, wah. No thank you. I still look for them. This one had some iron-ons, more flavors. Someone commented, love the High C. Well, thanks, Jeff. I'm glad you're enjoying it. A fun book, which I'm sure is just the most generic-y, garbageiest book that, you get some of these premiums, and they're just like, we hired a guy that draws generic coloring books, and we put him in charge. It's so funny because there's such different levels to premiums. Something like Funny Face, which we'll get into the Funny Face stuff someday. They just spent tons of money. Those mugs are beautifully made. They made walkers. They made all sorts of booklets, and it's just great stuff. And then High C, is getting a mini SSP, which the SSP people are already making, and so they're like, well, why don't you just throw us a couple 100,000 of those? And now this one goes back to childhood Dan. Free magic trick. Of course, when I was a kid, I of course wanted to. Maybe, I don't know if I wanted to be a magician, but magic was fascinating to me. There's this book called Dunninger's Encyclopedia of Magic, which I don't know if I still have a copy of it, and it's all of these different, really old um, magic things, and they're not like they don't. It doesn't actually teach you to do the magic. It just shows you like these crazy contraptions that stage magicians made. But I loved that book, and I always you're always looking. I was always looking through it like, which of these might I be able to do someday? And you're never gonna do any of it. But my other key magic thing of childhood was we had a Hollywood Magic. I lived in Costa Mesa. Hollywood Magic, which was a store in Hollywood. I live in LA now. But down in Orange County, they opened Hollywood Magic, which was an extension of the one here up in LA. And I started going in there. It's just like, it's like a kid in a candy store. It's like a toy store of stuff where everything is new and different. It's like you've been going to toy stores, you know what all the toys are, but when you discover magic as a 11 or 12-year-old, it blows your mind because you've never seen any of these toys, and it's all new and it's all wonderful. So these ones had magic tricks. They're terrible, terrible tricks. I'm sure I never learned any of them because as much as I thought I loved magic, I certainly didn't put in the time and energy because I'm an obsessive collector. I'm very good at being obsessive and collectory. And luckily, later in life, I decided to be an artist a bit more, which, if you know my art, which I'm sure most of you do since most of you personally know me, I've actually put in the time on that, which I'm very proud of. And then now we get to the fun one, Bill Cosby magic tricks. So I think the generic ones came later, but they had the old Bill Cosby, who used to be quite a kid's shill with, starting with Fat Albert. And he taught us some magic tricks, and then he did a lot of terrible things, or probably did those terrible things, allegedly. Maybe it's proved because he's in jail, I believe. Now we're gonna get to some so. Good luck to you, Bill Cosby. Bluebird's Circus Grape Drink. Once again, it's exactly the same as High C. For all we know, it could have been made by the High C people, and you can order probably seeds for a treat, which is probably $1 per cent of the following 2 labels, blah blah blah. Imagine the tiny dwarf-sized orange tree giving the fragrance of orange blossoms to your living room, family room, or kitchen. An ornamental as well as practical addition to your home. A conversation piece that will fascinate your guests, or an unusual gift. Yeah, anybody comment that has had someone come over their house and laud them on the plants that they had around the place? Because maybe that's what happened in the 50s, but I don't know. Another one of these babies, pink grapefruit. And you're probably saying, Dan, where did you get all this stuff? Most of it I do not have any memory of as where I got it. I used to know where I got everything, and then slowly the brain, and I just forget. One thing that I did do, which was very lucky on my part, were there's these women called refunders. And what refunders did was they saved all the labels, and then different products would offer a free refund through the mail if you send in 3 of these labels. Well, some of these ladies filled up rooms with stuff. And I was lucky enough to interact with a few of these ladies, and some of the ladies had stuff going back into the 60s. And I think probably most of these came from one of those ladies. And orange. And grape. Those are pretty fun. We always wonder if there was ever really a period where kids were like, yeah, clowns are cool. Clowns are my it. Now everybody sort of properly realizes that clowns are terrible, clowns are horrible, clowns are monsters. How long have we been going for? We're going for 33 minutes. My wife was like, how long is this going to go on for? And I was like, well, I mean, at least 20 minutes, maybe half an hour. Um, well, yes. But we're just getting into a lot of bulk stuff here, so we'll kind of pick up the pace a little. Here's another weird one. Sir Laugh-A-Lot. When I got this one, it was still on the can, which was doing a good job of rusting. So a lot of these things, what I'll do is I'll take them off the can because the can is just going to keep getting in worse shape. And, this beautiful label, I'd like this preserve. This is a Welch's apple drink, but it has the Screaming Demons. And this one you can really see the rust effect. The Screaming Demons were I think they were a Mattel. Maybe they were like Sizzler. I think they were like the motorcycle equivalent of Sizzlers. And so it's always kind of, most of the big toy companies did something at some point. So there's some Barbie things, there's some G.I. Joe things, there's some Hot Wheel things. But they never did a lot of stuff. So it's always interesting to sort of find that one sort of way, one sort of slight push. Cragmont Citrus Cooler. Cragmont was the Safeway brand, right? Yeah, it's the Safeway brand. So probably, like something like this, probably was made quite possibly by the same factory that made High C. They also made the Cragmont one. Cragmont also did some drink mixes, which we'll get to those someday. These next ones are these Del Monte Mary drinks, and so each one was a blend, and they have this cool tree that has the different fruits on it. That one, cherry, another cherry. See, these ones I do list on eBay because people buy them sometimes because they're so cool. They're beautiful. I mean, look at this art. Look at little trees hiding, and then all those different fruits. Fruit punch, fruit punch, fruit punch, fruit punch. Oh, see, I'm getting obsessive. Grape drink. Anybody? And orange drink. I never was a big fan of oranges when I was a kid. Now the orange is my favorite fruit. And I think, as we can see, orange was probably everybody's favorite of those. I just love oranges, and I think we already did cherry pineapple. Cherry pineapple, yes. We're gonna do. I think that all we got left is Kool Aid, which Kool Aid. Kool Aid is one of those brands that's been around forever, since at least the 30s, maybe the 20s. I have never collected Kool Aid obsessively because that would have taken up my life. There is so much Kool Aid to collect out there. I collect some of it, and most of it that I still have is just stuff that's sort of left over because Kool Aid came my way. I don't know that I ever really. There's very little Kool Aid that I pursued. T-shirt offer. This one's kind of cool. I've seen this bank before. It's like the inside the container is like a game, and so it had a decoder and boom. What is this? Purplosaurus Rex. And what's another interesting thing about Kool Aid is nobody ever collected it when I was collecting mostly. Now they collect it, but the people that collect Kool Aid now collect it as 80s nostalgia, which is super interesting. Most of them could care less about 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s stuff. They all want the weird Purplosaurus and all, because they had this whole sort of line of flavors that started, I don't know, this is from 88, probably like in 85, Rockadile Rex and all these things. And it was a big childhood thing for a certain bunch of kids. And so that's what's always interesting about collecting is you never know where they're gonna where the people are gonna congregate. What particular thing is gonna be the truly obsessive thing. Like Quisp and Quake. Our people are very obsessive about those. Captain Crunch, yes, also. But then you get to like King Vitamin. Eh, people want those boxes, but not the same. Crisp and Quick are another level. Um, the picture offer, the picture offer, the picture offer. This is cool. This one's got the offer for this cool little this little coin bank, which shows up. Um, Probably can get it on eBay for like $40 or something. Rainbow Punch. Boom. But I mean, it's like Kool Aid. It's like once you've seen one, you've sort of seen them all. Oh, this is kind of nice because it has all the offers on the back. This is a little earlier one with the kids. The kids, and that's the other thing with Kool Aid is it's just the smiling picture. Boom, 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 boom. They never, those '80s ones, they did fool around with it and made some characters, and maybe that's the reason why. This one's kind of interesting. A belt buckle. So every kid wants is a big Kool Aid Man belt buckle. Back to the girl, and then this one, Kool Aid lemonade flavor. And that is that's the labels we're looking at today. So we have a big pile of labels here. Anybody have any questions? Anything you want to know? Anything you want to hear? I'm going to take a drink of water. I haven't figured out if we have a lag or not either. Who knows? I'm looking at the chat. How many people did we ever have? I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. Look at all the people. Todd was here. Kayla, Nicolville, Jeffic, Dustin Crops Boy, who's renovating some McDonald's stuff. Well, I went out for 40 minutes off of that one package of stuff. If you like these videos, let me know. Leave a comment. Anybody that ever produces material loves likes and comments because we want to feel like somebody cares about what we're doing. I don't know if these live ones are better than me just doing it myself. I don't know. We'll see. Well, it doesn't look like there's any questions coming in. CPU but this will get posted. I think I'll be able to pull that off. And like I said, if there's something you want to see, I'm on Instagram, so you can just contact me on there. You can leave a comment, and like I say, I have a lot of stuff, and I'm happy to talk about it. And if you want to keep seeing it, I'll keep showing up. Okay, cool, everybody. Love it. How often are you going to do these? I don't know. Maybe I'll just Maybe I'll just start by doing like one live one a week, and then maybe I'll do a couple of other ones, a couple of non-live ones at other times. My dream is to figure out how to have a guest on. Do a vitamin one. Vitamin one. That will be in one of the boxes. I think most all my vitamin stuff are in one of the boxes. I'll do that one next. I'll do that box next. And you know what? I mean, and that's the other thing about all this collectible stuff is like I'll have a box, as you saw yesterday if you watched that one box one, where there'll be just a lot of random stuff. Just like we had Funny Face in here, but we just had one small sliver of Funny Face. We had, the canister, the 1974 to 1978 canisters. Boom. I have like another tub up here where I have a lot of my other Funny Face stuff. I'll pull that tub down. We'll go through that, and we'll see a lot of Funny Face history. But like with vitamins, it's like, yeah, I have a box with all of my packaged vitamins, and then I have an album over here. Let's see, we can hold on one second. I have one of these albums. It's labeled. Can you see that? No, you can't see it. It's in black. Miscellaneous, which is going to have Cheez-Its. Going to have, oh, speaking of Casper cookies, here, yesterday in the other video we showed the Casper cookies. Well, here's the sales sheet for them. And it shows us, there we go. I was only mentioning 1 or 2 boxes. There's all 6 of them. And I mean, I think in all my years of collecting, and I've been collecting 30 years now. Yeah, 30 years. I have that one Baby Huey box. Somebody I knew had 1 or 2 of the Devil's Food cookie boxes, and I think they were mid flats. I didn't buy one like an idiot because it was expensive. I've never seen another one of these boxes. Never heard of anyone having one in their collection. Never seen one. So if your goal was to try to get all 6 of these boxes, a lifetime probably would not be enough time. Because there may not be all 6 of those boxes on the planet. So that's collecting. Nestle's quick canisters would be great. Yeah, Jim, I'll do the Nestle's quick canisters. That's in another one of the main collection boxes, which I think those are in with a bunch of tins. And I've got the good ones, which you've probably all seen pictured before, but I probably have a few other little obscure things. I don't have, and I'll probably be saying this a lot in these videos, is I don't have what I once did. Sadly, I have to sell collectibles to stay alive, and it's sad. I wish I had unlimited funds like we all did. But I do have to sell stuff to keep the boat afloat. But I still have some good stuff, and it's gonna be fun sharing this with all you guys. Thanks for everybody that showed up. Thanks for everybody that watches this at a later date. Maybe we'll even make some titles at some point, so it's not a complete scrub stream. But this is fun. I like talking to you guys. I like talking about collectibles because mostly I just sit at home and play with my collectibles and look at them myself. So I've always enjoyed trying to share them in some ways. Okay, everybody. Thanks for coming.